In episode number 224, we explore the galaxy with Mass Effect Andromeda's release date officially tweeted out.
We also have some news from Geoff Johns about Watchmen in the DC universe, the thing we never thought was going to happen and blew our minds.
An all-new Marvel title is Hulk #1, where we follow the She-Hulk. Will this live up to the previous series?
We're also going to cover Dark Knight 3, The Master Race #7.
All of this and more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Emperor Papa Kelli.
For any new listeners, the way we format the show is first we cover some news, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more, and then we wrap it up with a couple of comic book highlights this week, one from Marvel and one from DC today.
Before we jump into our show, though, Dan, do you have any news about your week that you would like to share with our listeners?
2017 is coming out great so far for me.
Yes.
I got a favorite on Twitter from Lego Batman, the official Lego Batman account.
Amazing. What did they favorite? Share with our listeners.
So my tweet was, Lego Batman will be one of the bright spots of 2017. Can't wait. And they liked it. They favorited it. It's something.
It did get a favorite.
Those Warner Brothers accounts never retweet unless it's like from an actor in the actual movie, and all that they come to an agreement ahead of time. So to see even a favorite, I'm like, all right, fine, awesome. That's my first favorite ever.
I can die happy now.
From a major Warner Brothers studio. Never gotten a favorite from Batman v Superman or Suicide or Wonder Woman.
You need
but
to
Lego Batman.
Screenshot where it says Lego Batman favorited you and just keep it forever.
I screenshotted it and it went up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Bet your ass. So 2017, hopefully this is a sign of great things for the show. You've been prepping up on one of your crazy runs.
I have been. So this weekend I will be running the Goofy race out at Disney.
It's definitely goofy.
It's
crazy.
It is goofy. It will be a half marathon and then a full marathon the day after that.
So to non-runners, how many miles is a half and a full marathon?
39.3 miles in 2 days.
This is both of those combined?
Both combined. So a half is 13.1 and a full is 26.2. So when you combine them, it's 39.3.
Do you have a goal as far as time?
No.
You have not been training like your previous one.
I haven't. So my previous marathon, I prepped for it and I did a half marathon about a month before, and I ran at least 3 miles a few times a week. And then work and life happened, and I've been fighting a cold for like 3 weeks now, and I didn't want to, stress my body by trying to train and da-da-da. The good thing about these is you just have to pace a 16-minute mile. I can walk a 16-minute mile, so I could walk the whole thing and still make it out and get my big-ass medals, and even if the bus picks me up, they give me a big-ass medal, as long as I make it to the finish line. The unfortunate part is the day of my half, it's supposed to rain with a high of like 60.
Well, that's pretty good for winter weather.
But
thank you, Florida.
That's 13 miles in the rain and the cold. I am from Florida. 60 is like 0 degrees.
See, I'd be running, I'm like, oh, this nice breeze, just to cool me down a little bit. No. Maybe it'll dry some of the sweat.
Nope. I'm going to have my long tights on. I'm going to have my long sleeve shirt. I'm going to like, because you got to think you got your sweat coming out of there too. And no.
It does make it colder. Yeah, I definitely agree. Rain and sweat will make you a lot colder. So you got to be careful. Definitely bundle up for that race. I mean, you'll be outside for over an hour.
Try 3.
Over an hour.
Yes. 3 hours. It'll take me probably 3 hours to complete the half. Probably 7 hours to finish the full. So this 10 hours in the elements over 2 days.
The elements.
The elements. The nice Disney roads and Disney parks. But I will tell listeners, if you've never run a Disney race and you've ever thought of it, it's the best kind of race you can run. It's pretty amazing. They have like Monsters, Inc. on the side of the road, and you're like, cool. They launch fireworks when you start running.
They have the actual characters on the side there to greet you, don't they?
Yeah, you can take pictures with them. So if you're far enough ahead of like the bus, you can stop and take pictures with the characters. So they had Shan Yu from Mulan, you know, the bad guy, the Hun.
He's really cool.
He was there. You get the evil queen from Snow White with her cauldron. Jack Sparrow and Barbossa were there. Like, characters that you never see unless you run these races. Scrooge McDuck was there last year. You have Mickey and all his friends in, like, their running gear, too, just there to greet you. I'm like, stop it. You guys are cool. But the person I was running with was like, no characters. We have to finish. But if you're far enough ahead of the bus, too, you can actually get on the rides and ride them.
And then keep going.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
That's pretty awesome. We'll hear how you did next week and how much fun it was to at least see some of the characters and how you push yourself. No training Kelli and see how well she still did.
Yeah, listen. You may be doing this show by yourself because I might be dead.
So you had mentioned you like the hashtag games.
Yes, I love them.
There are 2 more here that we had this week and some responses.
Yay!
So the first one is hashtag make a movie caffeinated. My response, my tweet, my Facebook update was Harry Potter and the Half Cup Press.
I appreciate that.
Pretty good.
We also have one from Eric on Facebook who said pineapple espresso.
That one's awesome,
That
too.
one's awesome.
And the other hashtag game was hashtag high school in 5 words. Mine was don't dance, be a wallflower.
Aw, you didn't dance?
Not in my high school days. Remember, I was friends with people that I mean, we all played video games and talked about comics, so we weren't exactly the most outgoing. So even in high school, I mean, eventually, you know, by the end of the night, we'd go out there and dance. Or a couple of us, by the end of it, would, you know, find someone that we knew and dance with them. But for the most part, yeah, wallflower it up and just kind of, look at that person dance, making fun of them to make ourselves feel a little bit better.
I was totally the only person dancing in the middle, like with my friends, because nobody else wanted to dance. And I was always like, I paid $80 for this fucking dance. I'm a dance.
Prom was a different story. Prom, like, I was old enough already, and the people that wanted to dance went to prom. Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, high school, even junior high's 7th grade dance was one of the most awkward things in life. Because
7th grade is the most awkward thing in life anyway.
It's mainly like they have the dance floor, the DJ's going, and everyone is in a group in the middle talking to one another. Just hanging out at the gym, not dancing. That was 7th grade dance.
Aww. We do have another one, though, from Matt from Super Side Up.
The Super Side Up podcast.
Mm-hmm. Who says, pretty people that said no. Aww. At least you tried.
I love that one. I love that one. Because, yes, there were pretty people that said no.
Aww. See, my school was the opposite. If I had to do in 5 words, it would be small school, no cute guys. I only had one person ask me out in all of high school, at my high school. And then I was like, no, we're just friends. And then he went home and cried, and his mom called my mom because I made him cry. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Holy shit. That must have been a tiny school then.
It was. There were 12 people in my graduating class. It was a small school.
That poor kid. I mean, I hope that kid got a life lesson from that. I never cried after someone said no. That must have been a very sensitive kid.
Well, he was convinced that he was going to marry me. We were in, like, 10th grade.
Well, life goals.
But, I guess. So he was convinced he was going to marry me, and then we went out to see a movie once, and then I'm like, I just want to be friends. And it crushed him.
Well, on that light note, let's talk video games.
Video games. So Mass Effect Andromeda has confirmed a release date of never, so Dan can never play it. Done. Moving on. Next story.
March 21st, 2017, about 10 weeks away now.
Is that when it's not coming out?
I am counting.
Is that
70 days left.
Spend more time with Kelli Day?
I cannot fucking wait. My most anticipated video game of the year.
Is that sell the rest of your Mass Effect games so that you don't get distracted by them day? That's what I think it is.
So Andromeda is set 600 years after the Mass Effect trilogy as colonists leave Earth to find new worlds among the stars.
Sounds lame. I don't think you should get it.
They've been very active this last week on Twitter and on Facebook. They've been giving out more gameplay footage. We've gotten the release date after many months of rumors on when this game was actually going to come out. One of their tweets was a GIF of the actual game and some of the gameplay, where one of the aliens goes and points a gun at the main character, which you then turn it around and point it right back at him. A lot of people were very critical about the facial animations on the characters because they looked a little too robotic, a little too sudden. And I remember them, to me, I'm like, okay, so this looks like Mass Effect, because none of the games had super smooth facial animations. All of them were like weird, robotic, kind of moving things. And I already know, like, this has to be the same engine because it looks exactly like Mass Effect 3, so we're obviously going to get the same animations. I had no issue with it. To me, give me the solid gameplay from Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, or rather 2 and 3, since 1 was way different than the next two. But give me more of 2nd and the 3rd one, and I'm a happy man. I just want more of that story, more of that gameplay, but instead they just got flooded with tweets of them telling them, fix the animations, fix what this shoddy game looks like right now, and then maybe we'll buy your game.
You know, I think they should just listen to everyone and scrap it. Just done.
Or fix the animations.
Or scrap it.
They responded to the criticism by saying that there's still a lot of time for polish. It comes out in March. I don't know how much polish that's going to be. I think the animations can be fixed later on through a patch. Not a big deal. But again, how the characters look and how they express themselves, not a big deal. I'm used to it from the previous games.
At the end of it, nobody's going to care. They're going to be really happy with what they get if it's anything like the last two, and wives everywhere will just lose their husbands.
Next, we're going to cover some Disney funding on the Marvel side, and this goes to Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
According to co-showrunner Jed Whedon, Ghost Rider will not be returning to Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it returns from its mid-season break.
So this is due to budgetary concerns when creating the special effects for Robbie Reyes' flaming skull. It is very fucking expensive, and it shows. It's a really cool effect.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will return January 10th on ABC.
Honestly, we're not following Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We don't like the show, but when they said that Ghost Rider was going to be in it, and there were reports on how expensive it was to actually animate him, I thought Ghost Rider was just going to be a 3-episode character, introduce him, and then maybe later on have him come up in a Netflix show. Bigger budget, maybe they can do more with the Ghost Rider. But they've had him this long already, and appearing all the way to the mid-season break, it sounds like. Maybe we got more than what we initially thought, and maybe we should be happy we got as much Ghost Rider as we did.
But it's not enough.
That character was just there to boost ratings, because honestly, I feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on the brink of cancellation between seasons. They had already talked about that before this season came out, and a lot of people are kind of getting tired of the show, and I'm just like, well, join us, because we've been there.
Yeah, maybe we watched one episode of it, and that was enough for me. Granted, we have too much TV to keep up with everything anyway. But, you know, if it's a budgetary reason, yes, absolutely. Cut him, write something else.
And it's not even that they need to write something else. They have this shit planned already. It's not like, well, let's see how much money we get from ads. They've planned this ahead of time because of that set budget that they do have. But because of this, not everyone understands that a show can only spend so much per season to actually stay and remain profitable. And that brings us to our very first Nerd Rage Reaction!
I didn't do my sound effects.
You didn't?
You don't seem very heartbroken. You should be in love and attached to my sound effects.
So Nerd Rage Reaction, to anyone confused, is a funny comment on the internet, something irrational that we can point to and sort of laugh at every single week. We're not going to tell you who put it out there. We're not that mean. But here's the quote of this week's Nerd Rage Reaction.
I always find this sort of thing funny. Like, Disney can't afford to up their special effects budget on a TV show that promotes their multi-billion-dollar superhero franchise. Disney? Really? Sorry, it was delayed.
I'm sure some people missed it.
I'm sure somebody
They're used
did.
to it at this point.
If you missed it, hit me up at Palpakelly. Put hashtag yes sound effects.
So Disney, while they may be an endless hole of just cash and money, and it would cost them overall with everything that they make almost nothing to go ahead and keep Ghost Rider throughout the rest, But the reason that they are so profitable is because they set limits on everything that they work on and everything that they do. If you just start throwing money at a TV show just to keep, in this case, a sound or a special effect going, you're not going to make up any losses from that extra cost and extra special effect. You can't be losing money in this project and gaining on this one and saying, well, this one is making up for this, so that kind of evens out. That's not how Disney operates, and That's not how you stay profitable.
That's not how any business should operate. You don't make one, if something's not making you money, you cut it. That's how it goes. So, yes, of course, they have a set budget. If it's going over budget, now you need to cut it back. I mean, it works the same with any piece of the Disney company. You have your heavy hitters, but they don't make up for the ones who are doing poorly. Learn business, people.
Yes, everyone on the internet.
Hey, there are free online business courses, college courses. I've researched this, never taken one.
Well, if not, they're learning from the podcast.
There you go. You're welcome. We have Educated Today. What was that whole thing? The more you know.
The more you know.
Swing.
Debunk time.
Do we get a jingle for this? You can't just say debunk time.
Debunk time.
No, you can't.
I can.
Debunk time.
All right, there's your jingle.
Can I inhale a balloon while I do? Debunk time.
A recent report released claiming that Ryan Reynolds had filmed a Deadpool cameo for this year's Logan film.
Director James Mangold, star Hugh Jackman, and Ryan Reynolds himself have all taken to Twitter to deny Deadpool's appearance in the film.
Okay, so before we actually talk about what they said and how they tweeted, is it believable that Deadpool would make some kind of cameo in the Wolverine movie? See, I think it's a believable rumor because of how much money Deadpool made, and the fact that Fox... At this moment, Wolverine and Deadpool are their two biggest franchises as far as the superhero stuff. So putting them together in some kind of cameo format would work out to benefit them.
But here's the way that I look at it. From what we've seen of the trailers, the feel of this movie that they're trying to go with is not something that would lend itself well to Deadpool.
Right, and I was going to say that this one takes place so far in the future that I don't really see where Deadpool will fit into this. And yeah, putting in some kind of lighter tone to some portion of it, as you said, would be a little bit jarring compared to the rest of the movie.
Yes, see, I'm right. I'm always right. Why don't you listen to me?
So I don't know. I don't know who to believe at this point. I mean, I've got to pick a camp, right? I do think Deadpool's going to make some kind of cameo in the film. I really do.
I don't think so.
Even if it's a post-credit scene, I think we're going to have that.
Are we betting on this? Let's shake some hands.
Let's shake hands. I don't know what we're betting because we never figure that out.
We never figure it out.
So, Mangold...
If I'm right, you have to admit that I'm always right. And you can't make fun of my messy car anymore.
Director James Mangold tweeted, @Mangold is his Twitter handle. For everyone freaking out, The Wrap is reporting fake news. Chill.
Yeah, chill, Dan. Fake news. We also have one from Ryan Reynolds, who's @VanCityReynolds, who says, sadly, not true. Prisoner 24601 is on a solo mission.
And finally, Hugh Jackman, @RealHughJackman said, what they said.
Oh, is it what they said or what the other thing said where they said he was going to be in there? Which they said?
He's being cryptic.
Oh, so mysterious. Logan is in production for a March 3rd theatrical release, and we will find out then that he's not in there. That's what we'll find out.
That Deadpool's not in there.
He's not in there because we bet on it, and I am always right. And you're going to admit I'm always right.
Even more than Deadpool, just talking about Deadpool or Logan for a second, I want to see the classic Wolverine costume in some form. We got that teaser in the deleted scene from the Blu-ray of the last Wolverine movie where he opens up a case and it's that Wolverine costume, not his first appearance, but that brown and yellow one from the 90s. And just to see him wear that and put it on the big screen and seeing an actual Wolverine costume would be amazing.
We're not going to see it.
I don't think so either, unless you do some kind of flashback but even then it wouldn't explain why he would suddenly start wearing the classic Wolverine costume.
I don't think, maybe he's like, I don't know, maybe you have, what's her name? Project X? I don't know. What was her name?
X-23?
X-23. Maybe she's like trying on random clothes and she tries on his old costume. I think that's the only way that we would see his costume in this. I don't see Hugh Jackman putting that on.
Did you see the previous 2 Wolverine movies?
No. Maybe? Was there one with a guy with laser eyes who lasers a big concrete thing and they were on top of it?
Yes, that was Deadpool.
Was it really?
Yes.
Why does he have laser eyes?
I have no idea why.
Everyone asked Deadpool.
Why. Yes, he was.
Why did he have laser eyes?
Exactly. That's what fans said. Like, this is not Deadpool. Like, when this movie came out, they said Ryan Reynolds was going to play Deadpool, and then the movie comes out, and he's pretty much sort of being like Deadpool, Diet Deadpool throughout it, when he's regular, he's not transformed, has a regular face on, and then throughout the rest of the movie, he does get, if I remember correctly, because I haven't seen it since seeing in theaters, I did not want to, but he gets captured, he gets experimented on to create the ultimate mutant, and he instead has his mouth completely sewn shut. He has Cyclops' laser beams. He's got the healing vision, and he's got a large blade that come out from his arms. He's essentially Baraka from Mortal Kombat.
I see him now, you're right. That's not Deadpool.
That's what everyone said.
Somebody lied to all of us. Laser eyes, please.
It was pretty bad as far as what Deadpool fans wanted, but I think a lot of people forget that at that point, Deadpool was not as big of a property as he is even before the movie Deadpool came out. It was more of a, okay, let's see if we can use this character in anything. Sure, the comics were doing okay, but since then, they've ramped up so much leading up to the film's release.
Who drew on him with permanent marker?
You're looking at the Deadpool design, right?
Yeah, they drew on him with permanent marker. This makes no sense. I have no faith in the world anymore. It's gone. That did it.
And the second Wolverine movie was the one with the Silver Samurai. And this is the one where he had lost his healing powers and he could actually die throughout the entire movie. And then near the end, he gains them again. He loses the adamantium, so we get Bone Claw Wolverine. That one maybe you didn't see. But I want to say the sequel was going to be the one initially directed by Darren Aronofsky, and then he dropped out and another director came on. I think the way Logan looks right now with X-23 and Stephen Merchant as the villain might top out, though. I know it's not saying much, but might top the last two as the best Wolverine movie.
If that was Deadpool, that's not saying much. Wait, was the first one the one with his, woman? Didn't he have a woman?
He's had several women.
Yeah. Go Wolverine.
First one also had Gambit in it. And that's a Gambit that, again, people were not entirely happy with.
I don't remember him. I just remember lazy eyes, not Deadpool.
So staying on the same film, while Hugh Jackman has been vocal about Logan being the last time he plays Wolverine, the 48-year-old actor is now hesitating on retiring the role.
Well, that's a lie. This man is not 48 years old.
They're going to say he never hesitated once about retiring.
No, he is not 48. He probably, come on, Wolverine's tough on his body. His 32-year-old body. And he's probably already made enough that he can retire at the ripe young age of 35. There's no way this man is 48. Almost 50, impossible. He found the Fountain of Youth or some shit.
What, have you seen the fountain?
This is true. He found the Lazarus pit or something.
48 years old,
No.
He's getting up there. He can't play Wolverine forever. But the bit that he says, I'm going to stop being Wolverine. No, you're not going to stop being Wolverine. No, you're not going to give up the role of Logan.
No, you're not.
Logan is not going to be the last one.
You're not going to give up the paychecks.
That's what it comes down to. That's exactly what it fucking comes down to. I mean, if he gives up the Wolverine movies, what else is he going to do? He's done The Prestige, which is excellent, but fucking moneymakers, as much as Wolverine is his fucking baby. And all superhero movies, if you're an actor and you can get your ass on lockdown for any of those superheroes franchises, you are set for a good long time.
For life. He's not leaving Wolverine. He's going to be 48 someday and playing old man Wolverine, making cameos. He's not going anywhere.
In the meantime, Ryan Reynolds has been publicly calling for a Deadpool-Wolverine team-up movie.
Hugh Jackman actually had something to say about this. Quote, I'm hesitating because I could totally see how that's the perfect fit, but the timing may be wrong.
Is it a perfect fit?
Well, they already did it once, so someone should just tell Ryan Reynolds, hey, already happened. You're shooting laser beams out of your eyes.
That'd be the ultimate troll. To oh, you guys want to see that team up? Okay. And then the first trailer hits and it's that version of Deadpool.
That would be the best.
Just piss off everyone.
Everyone.
Do you want to see that movie?
I want to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine more, because he does a great job. I think he does a great job. I don't know. I like Hugh Jackman.
X-23, while appearing in this and in the comics, she is the current Wolverine. I don't see her taking over as the character of Wolverine. And I know we said that it's a possibility and something that could happen, but I don't think today, within the next 20 years, we probably won't see an X-23 Wolverine on the big screen.
I wouldn't say. I would see it sooner in the next 20 years. If we do see her starring in the movie, Logan would have to have a pretty big role in that movie also. So maybe training her or helping her, raising her, like we're going to see. But it'd be a more mature X-23.
So you think it's very possible that we'll see Hugh Jackman sign back on as Logan, but in that role, that supporting role for the future of the franchise?
I think we could see that.
My concern still is that this actress for X-23 is still very young, and they're not going to have a kid running around as Wolverine. So they would either have to stay on her as she grows and maybe eventually have her be the new Wolverine, which I don't think is going to happen. I think we'll see a Marvel Disney buyout before that. The other side of that would be a flash forward with an older actress taking over the role.
I just don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, because we've seen with these last few movies, like the Star Wars movies, like some of the other superhero movies that we've seen, that there's a big call for women superheroes, for little girls to look up to. Those are the princesses of today. That's what the girls are looking up to, are these superheroes. And, you know, I can't tell you how many kids recently I've seen dressed up as Rey from Star Wars.
Right.
And they're just talking about how cool she is and how they want to be like her when they grow up. There's starting to be a really big call for that. And I think it's only going to continue to grow. So I don't see having a lead female superhero in a movie as out of the realm of possibility. Especially if they do Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman, like, knocks it out of the park. And I understand Wonder Woman is very different from X-23. It's on a different level. But if they can see that, yes, a female superhero is what there's a call for, I don't see why it wouldn't happen. If
we see a Wolverine-Deadpool movie, it's going to have to be Deadpool taking a back seat to Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see the story focusing on Deadpool with Wolverine or Logan as the supporting character. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't seem right. Even from a storytelling perspective, you can do way more with the character of Logan than you can Deadpool. I'd say leave the Deadpool-focused events to his solo movies, and if you do end up doing a Deadpool Wolverine film, have it be Hugh Jackman's story and Deadpool, you know, being that support. And I think if you give us too much Deadpool, it could be a detriment to the character, just like we saw with Jack Sparrow in the pirate movies.
It would have to be something like Wolverine's on a mission and Deadpool's, you know, trying to kill the same person too, so then they're working together, and Hugh Jackman's trying to be all serious, and Deadpool's like, whoa, funny stuff.
Let me talk to the audience. Yeah. You guys like this, right?
He'd be like, look at this guy, all serious with a stick up his ass. Whoa!
And then the 14-year-olds can be happy.
Yeah. That's what it would have to be. And it would be very successful, let's not lie.
So let's switch on over to the Warner Brothers side and the future of the Batman franchise.
Ben Affleck, did I say it right this time?
Yep.
Finally! Has recently downplayed the production of his solo Batman film.
In an interview with The Guardian, Affleck said, quote, "It's not a set thing, and there's no script. If it doesn't come together in a way I think is really great, I'm not going to do it," end quote.
Lies. Hugh Jackman is not 48. I'm sorry. I don't think that's true. They're going to give him some money, and he's going to do something.
Well, something is off about his quote, because we just reported about 5 months ago that he and Geoff Johns were working on a Batman script, and they had wrapped it up. They were switching off and trading the script and kind of essentially writing half and half each and making it work together. So where is this sudden direction, this change of pacing? We just said last week, I think, that they are getting ready to film this season right now in spring. So what the fuck is going on here? Is this a sign of Ben Affleck unhappy about the script or the pay or the scheduling? Or is this him trying to milk some more money off of this film? Or is this really not a finished thing?
It's hard for me to judge what's happening here, because my gut tells me he's trying to get more money, or he's trying to get more...
creative control?
No more media coverage from this. Because if now places are saying, oh, this movie's not going to happen, like, it's taken a long time to get to this point where they're ready to start filming. how much interest have they lost in that time? You know, when they first announced, it's like, oh, this is going to be made, and now you're kind of losing it. So you almost want to bring people back in to say, oh, now it's kind of not going to be made. No, they need to make this movie. So that's what part of me says, but the other part is kind of like, yeah, maybe they just aren't happy. Like, yeah, they were working together and almost done, and then you sit down and you read through it and you actually start acting out some of these scenes and you start thinking, yeah, maybe this isn't the best fit.
Is it possible that Warner Brothers announced this project a bit too early?
I don't think so, because we know this movie's going to be made. Don't sit here and pretend, oh, we're just going to scrap it if it's not working. This movie is going to be made.
Well, sure. It was originally going to come out like many years later, and now they pushed it up to start filming next season.
So then they just push it back like a year. We'll be fine. Go ahead and announce that this movie will be made. Don't pretend it's not.
A lot of people are praising him for his attitude about the movie because he's saying, if I don't like the script, I'm not going to make the movie. I'm not going to direct it. We've seen the casting of Manganiello as Deathstroke in the Batman movie. Rumors are he's going to appear in this year's Justice League film. So it seems like they are already making the connections to try to string all of these together. And for Affleck to suddenly say, no, it's not really a sure thing, I could drop out of this at any point, is really worrisome and a little bit weird. Definitely something more underneath there that we're simply not getting from the reports.
Mm-hmm. We don't ever know what goes on behind the scenes, of course. I don't realistically see any way that he's not going to do this project. He's now so devoted to this character and this story. He's not going to just leave it. They'll probably tack on 2 more zeros and he'll be good to go.
Yeah, maybe we'll know more by the time Justice League comes out.
So continuing with some DC news, but switching on over into comics. In a tweet soon after the West Coast celebrated New Year's Eve, Geoff Johns tweeted a close-up image of Dr. Manhattan with the following quote.
Writing comics again. Stay tuned. Happy New Year. End quote. And that's from @Geoff Johns.
Finally, can this man just write comics with his whole life?
So I'm guessing, Jeff, you finished writing your script with Ben Affleck, and you can let me know. Just tell me.
Just tell me.
Tell me on Twitter.
Tell Aquaman.
Send me a direct message. Send it straight to Aquaman. It's going to say @reasons I'm broke, but that's just so that people don't flood me with Aquaman tweets.
Flood, I see what you did there. Oh, Aquaman.
And let me know that you're coming back to the world of comics. I mean, you did a great job with that DC Rebirth special. That was amazing. So let's see you finish that story in 2017 or 2018, whenever. Just let me know.
Mm-hmm. And then let us know how the script turned out for Batman, the solo film.
Yeah, I'll give it a read through. You know, I'll give you some notes. It's not going to be...
You're a beta reader, is that what they're called? That's what they're called on fan fictions.
Probably could use more Aquaman scenes without even reading it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's called The Batman, not The Batman and Aquaman movie, or Aquaman plus Batman.
It's the Aquaman.
I think Batman and Aquaman would be good friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, yeah, there's Superman, but then there's me.
Aquaman. There'd be great drinking buddies. Does Batman drink?
He does. Actually, Alex and I were arguing about this.
Okay.
Or not arguing, but discussing. We were talking about Captain America's powers, and I was still stuck on what we've seen on the films as opposed to the comics. But even in the comics, it's pretty crazy the stuff he does in there. So we were saying that I argued that it's superhuman, that it's more than what humans can do. And he said, no, it's simply the serum pushing you to human perfection, both body and mind. And I looked it up, and yes, it's true. In the comics, it's full human potential, physical and in mind.
Mental.
So that's why they always pair Captain America and Batman together, because Batman trains himself to be perfection of mind and body. Even though he is screwed up in the head, like Batman, one could argue, is insane himself, he is still that perfection of the human body. So whenever they fight each other, it's like, oh, who's going to win? It's Batman, but people still ask, it's still considered a somewhat even matchup.
Right.
Which is still a little confusing, too, because in the Marvel vs. DC, Batman says, we could spar, we could fight, and it would be close, but you would edge me out based on your stamina alone, which I didn't understand, especially now knowing that Super Soldier Serum gets you up to that point. If Batman could build up his stamina to perfection, as he does because he is Batman, then it shouldn't be an issue. Mm-hmm. And my thing was, well, I think Captain America's superhuman because he jumps out of buildings and can land fine,
Yeah.
But Alex said, well, maybe that's human perfection, and we just don't know it. And my argument was, well, bones aren't really, you can't really perfect them more. They would still break. But putting that aside, if Captain America can't get drunk because his metabolism's perfect, his mind and body are perfect, then Batman does drink, but he also would not be able to get drunk. Because his metabolism would also be perfect, and his mind would also be perfect, and his body would be perfect.
Can you train your metabolism to be better?
I'm sure there are ways to speed up your metabolism, and if you're as active as Batman, I'm pretty positive. I'm sure it's as strong. I don't know if you can get it to perfection, so yeah, maybe there's a difference there. And I know Captain America still has like a stronger healing factor than average humans, and I'm sure that's something Batman can't. You know what? Fuck it, it's Batman. He can do all these things. He found some way to Wayne Enterprise the metabolism to perfection and his fucking healing factor. So yes, he is equal to Steve Rogers. He cannot get drunk. There's your answer. He drinks, but he can't get drunk.
I'm pretty sure Batman can get drunk. Batman never eats. Do you ever see Batman eat? No.
That's true.
Alfred brings him food all the time, and he doesn't eat. So when he drinks, he's just going to get drunk faster. When I don't eat, it takes 2 sips of wine, and boom, done.
I don't know how we got on Captain America and Batman drinking.
God, I don't know either.
So president of DC Entertainment, Diane Nelson, asked on Facebook, quote, "What's in 2017 that hasn't been done? That will be the fun," end quote.
We did get a response from co-publisher Dan DiDio, who replied with, quote, "DC Universe meets the Watchmen."
Fuck yes. Still waiting for the day. Yes. If it happens in Injustice 2 first, fine. But where Batman elbows Manhattan in the... I'm going to keep fucking saying that because I want to see it happen. Batman, Geoff Johns, write Batman elbows Dr. Manhattan in the fucking face. Write that in the script and make it happen.
Make sure to add the fucking...
Fucking face. That means it'll... just super strong, fucking elbow. Right to the chin where it would normally knock someone out.
Can Dr. Manhattan get drunk?
Only he knows that.
Oh.
Because he's everywhere at once.
So he's in every bottle of rum at once.
Yeah, so he is drunk and soberness at the same time.
Oh, how deep. He'd be great to have a party. Have him at your party. He's your drunk friend, but then he's also your DD.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, 2 Manhattan, because he can split up anyway.
Yeah. So you can have Wild Manhattan. And then, isn't there a drink called a Manhattan, too? Is that his favorite drink? Stop. Good job, Dr. Manhattan. I've never had a Manhattan. Have you?
No, but I'm pretty sure it is named after him.
After Dr. Manhattan? That's
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely,
okay.
Yes.
Bullshit. Whatever you say, Dan. You just keep believing.
How excited are you about the Watchmen in the DC universe?
It's going to be so cool because Batman's going to punch Manhattan in the face.
Manhattan as the villain in all of this? Or will it be Ozymandias at the very end of the day?
Both. It's probably the comedian. We'll see him in there somewhere. I know he's dead, but we're going to see him. Or Rorschach. What's Rorschach going to do when he shows up? Oh, wait, no, he's dead too. Damn it, spoilers.
They'll find a way to bring him back.
Yeah.
They'll bring him back, no worries. So because of this, because it's DC Comics and it is Watchmen, a very beloved story and franchise, and although they are doing stuff with them, people can't recognize that you have the original work. They're not changing that. You don't have to buy these issues that include the Watchmen. That doesn't stop them from getting angry.
Sorry, it was delayed again. So this does bring us to our next Nerd Rage reaction, which is, Johns really doesn't have a fraction of Alan Moore's talent, but Moore is past his prime. Johns is in his prime and still hasn't crafted a work that is anything like Moore has written in his peak. First off, how do they know Johns is in his prime? Have they seen the whole rest of his life?
That's true.
Have they looked forward to see the rest of the stories and they're like, no, this is it?
Maybe 10 years from now, he's writing for both DC and Marvel. Maybe that's not even his prime.
Maybe he owns DC and Marvel in 10 years.
He himself. That would be his fucking prime right there.
Yeah, that would be his prime.
You're right. How does this fucking guy know that?
He sees the future, obviously. Is he Booster Gold?
The only way he would say that it's in his prime is if he actually enjoys his work right now more than his previous work. So even though he says he's not as talented as Alan Moore, he still likes his work more now than ever before.
Yes.
So it's possible, even by his logic, that next year he's even more in his prime, and right now he's not.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking this guy feels like never in my life will I enjoy his work more than it is right now. I think that's where he is.
He's decided. He's planted his flag. This is it.
This is the best that we will ever be.
So right now, 2017, so the Wonder Woman movie and the Justice League movie, and half of the Batman movie are the prime of Geoff Johns,
Yes.
according to this Nerd Rager.
Well, no, because they haven't seen those yet.
But he's written those already. Right now, they're in his prime. They are written, and they're done.
Then yes. That is the best that it will ever be.
I'm going to do something controversial here. Hasn't crafted a work that is anything like Moore has written in his peak. Now, I know it goes by taste, but I'm going to hold up the 9 years of Green Lantern to Alan Moore's Watchmen. That shit is fucking good, and it kept DC afloat for many years. Read 9 years of Geoff Johns' Green Lantern, and then read The Watchmen. I think in quality, they're pretty comparable.
I would probably agree with that. Did he write the Volthoom stuff when I jumped on Green Lantern?
Volthoom, remind me who that is again.
The see-through naked guy with all the colors?
Yes, that was the very end of it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was fucking great. That was awesome. And here's the thing, he kept it up for 9 years. How long did Alan Moore keep up Watchmen?
I don't know how long he wrote Watchmen for, but it couldn't have been 9 years of monthly stories that came out and cooperation with other artists and other writers for 9 years to make sure everything kind of fit. And then, most important of all, give us a definitive ending to Green Lantern with the New 52's Green Lantern issue where they jump into that future with Volthoom that you're talking about, where he establishes these are the characters that are going to live up to this point. This is where they're going to end up. These Green Lantern characters are not all mine. He has created some, but not all of them are his. But bitch, they're fucking mine. This is my universe, and this is how it's going to end.
Right. You can't rewrite anything except what it is right now. So, Watchmen, because I'm doing my Google, was only published by DC Comics in 1986 and 1987, and then collected into a single book in 1987. So, his peak only lasted 1 year.
Well, some people would say Swamp Thing's Alan Moore is excellent.
All right, I like Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing's Alan Moore. Alan Moore Swamp Thing is excellent.
Swamp Thing's Alan... Are they a couple?
And Alan Moore's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is very, very beloved by many.
I've never
The Killing Joke.
Doesn't he not like The Killing Joke?
No, but he doesn't like any of his previous works that's getting media attention and movies and all this. He says, no, just leave it at what it was. So I will probably yield to Alan Moore having more influential works. I will give you that. But if you're going to compare the quality of work with Geoff Johns and Alan Moore, again, Geoff Johns' 9 years of Green Lantern is pretty fucking awesome. Like, it may not be as recognized as the Watchmen stuff, but anyone that's read it is like, yeah, this is some of comics' best.
Especially, like you said, it kept DC afloat, like, during the down years. Like, that's what made them money. Nerd Ragers.
Now, hopefully, Geoff Johns will elevate the superhero movies with what we're seeing, hopefully with Wonder Woman and Justice League and eventually the Batman. Who knows, maybe it won't happen, but if we can get what we got in the comics, I mean, this is a guy that came from comics. He's now in the movie industry. Let's hope that reflects and kind of builds up into, a comparison between the two.
I think we're definitely going to see great stuff. And then 2 years from now, the same Nerd Rager will be going, he's in his prime now.
And still not as good as Alan Moore. You're contradicting yourself, sir. Are you in your prime now? So let's talk about the structure of the DC universe, the writers, and what they're doing with their stories in 2017.
Due to the quicker consumption of media overall, DC Comics will continue its compression of comic book storylines to 1 to 3 issues long in 2017.
So stories will now last as long as necessary with less padding or series being drawn out.
Thank you.
We've seen that.
Padding.
Yeah, me too. The filler issues. We've seen already in the DC Rebirth universe that the storylines are going a lot quicker. And it's not simply because of the 2 issues a month format that they have going on, because that's something that people predicted. They said, well, these arcs will still be 6 issues to a year long, and then maybe we'll see a wrap-up, like the Court of Owls was a big one. But we'll see it in half the time because it's 2 issues a month. But no, it seems like even the storylines are being cut from there. So you're getting a full arc, 3 to 4 issues in 2 months, as opposed to half a year when they would put in a tie-in or a filler issue. And they're going to continue that strategy in 2017.
I like it. I think it's a good way to go.
Readers do too, actually. I was like, okay, where are people going to react on this one? Because it can go either way. And I'm reading the comments on Bleeding Cool, on Userama, on Facebook, on Twitter, and everyone's like, good. I want these to come and go quicker. Only give us what's necessary for these stories. Stop giving us these long events like Civil War II, where it was supposed to end last year and it ended, in early 2017. Or Forever Evil, which got delayed and went on for a while. That was probably the biggest one. Convergence went on for a bit. So instead, we're seeing these events go quicker. The biggest evidence of this, the clearest evidence of this, is Suicide Squad versus Justice League that we're getting right now. It's going to be a 6 to 8 issue miniseries, but we're getting it every single week. So it's coming a lot quicker. We just finished the Batman series with Bane. That wrapped up so fucking quick. Like, I'm sitting here tweeting about it, and I'm like, shit, man, is this really relevant anymore? Because it's going to be over by the time, I even come up with a single fucking tweet for this. And instead, it's readers consuming quicker. They want their media right at their fingertips. And they're kind of trying to keep up with that idea by, one, giving us comics twice a month, but also having them end, twice as quick.
I think, too, it really keeps people interested, because once you start putting in all those fillers and those crossovers and, now read this book to follow up with this story and see what happens next, or refer back to this book to see where you start to lose interest, Money isn't always as disposable as we would all like it to be, and so it's difficult to keep up with, I just want to find out how it happens, and now you're showing me this other character that I don't care about. It really, it's off-putting a lot of times. So I think it's a great direction to go.
Comic publisher Valiant has followed this model. And also Marvel's Amazing Spider-Man and Silver Surfer, which are both Dan Slott books. Interestingly enough, Amazing Spider-Man is the best-selling comic for Marvel.
Huh.
It's also one of the few books where it's the original character still with the name of Spider-Man. Whereas you're seeing, like, one we're reviewing today is Hulk. It's not Bruce Banner, it's She-Hulk. Or Wolverine, it's not Logan, it's X-23. But with Amazing Spider-Man, it's still Peter Parker. And a lot of people are pointing to that and saying, don't change the characters. People honestly want to see the original characters as what the superhero egos are. And we're still going to be picking up these issues. And in this case, Hulk, we're going to talk about, is very solid. But there's, money talks. It's people want to see the original stuff.
Yeah, but if they all just had all original stuff, then people would be saying, why don't you ever do anything new?
Yeah, that's true too. You're right. The only reason I say that is because people are actually purchasing Peter Parker's story. Do you think it's a viable model? Like, all comic publishers should do this? Maybe Marvel should tie its universe together more like DC has and then cut its storylines to 3 to 4 issues?
Marvel can do it at once, but Saga better keep on with this long-ass story.
Yeah, they've got year-long arcs and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I keep waiting for a Saga issue to come on where it's a jumping on point.
Nope.
Doesn't happen.
Never gonna happen.
It simply doesn't happen. You have to get it from the beginning. And most indie books are like that. You can't just pick up a regular, whatever's out on the shelf, you can't just pick it up and read from there.
That's fine.
You have to get it from the beginning.
Saga can do it at once.
Before we get into our Patreon shout-outs, I completely forgot Pokemon Generations. I
gotta sing a song for everything and have a jingle. You should know this by now.
Pokemon Generations is the online exclusive miniseries. They're like 4-minute long episodes where they cover the parts of the games that you did not see as a player. You usually showed up in the cave after N had already gotten his Reshiram taken away from him. So you come in and you save him and you fight for him. But these little specials are really good for that because in animated format, it's quality. It's done by professional studios and sometimes by different artists. You get to see the stories not told in the video games. But we finished every single one of those episodes, and this morning we watched the final one, which premiered a few weeks ago, but we just got around to it because of the holiday season. And let me tell you, Brokettes, I linked to it on Twitter and on Facebook. It is the saddest Pokemon story, and it just came out a generation ago. That just goes to tell you that the quality and storytelling for these games it's at its peak. It's doing so fucking well right now. And they ended it with the fucking story that made me tear up within 15 seconds of the goddamn thing starting.
You did. I looked over and I was like, oh, this must be really good. But it's the story. It was an X and Y?
Yeah, it was an X and Y at the very end after you defeat the Elite Four. But throughout the game, they've been telling you this story. And we've talked about it before, but last time we talked about it was the Pokemon Symphonic Evolutions, where they included that and played it. But this time you get to see it in animated format. And just as a refresher, do you want to tell the story? Do you remember it?
You can tell the story.
The Pokemon War has been referenced throughout the games from the first generation. You remember Lieutenant Surge?
Yes.
He used to talk about the war all the time.
That's right.
That's the war he's talking about. In the past, there was a war not between Pokemon and humans, but between different humans fighting each other. And they would use Pokemon, as opposed to, guns, weapons, and bombs, to fight one another. This is the world of Pokemon. And in this past, this was many, at this point with X and Y, I want to say many, many years ago.
3,000 plus.
Okay, so fucking Lieutenant Surge's war is not even that particular war. It's a more recent one.
Right.
This 3,000 plus year war caused this man, who was against the war in general, to have to give up his Pokemon who he loved. And it's a little flower Pokemon because they needed more troops for the war. So he sent off his Pokemon to fight, and he became extremely sad, wouldn't see the Pokemon come back, because you wouldn't know. You imagine sending out your Pikachu out to war, and you don't know if it's going to come back.
Nope, not going to happen.
Instead, he got a little box sent to him, a little coffin. And since that day, he never forgave humans for the war that they wrought upon themselves, because they caused him to lose his best friend. This little Pokemon, this little flower of a Pokemon. Much like, this actually ties in really well, much like Hugh Jackman in The Fountain, he spent all of his energy and resources to build a machine that would bring back Pokemon from the dead, and that would extend life, which he used on himself. This is how you got to meet this character that is 3,000 years old in the current game. Well, this machine, in order to revive his Pokemon that had died, would take the lives of anything around it, plants, creatures, animals, Pokemon, in order to harness the energy to bring back something to life. And eventually he did it, and he brought back his deceased Pokemon from war after many years of researching and Pokemon dying and building this machine. And even though his Pokemon was back, he could still not forgive humankind for causing him this pain and causing him to go into this path of destruction and sadness and anger. So he decided to use the same machine to try to take out the rest of the region and humans and cities. And when he did this, because you see it in the same animation, in the same episode, brings it down upon a city, kills hundreds of people and Pokemon in that city, because he says humans need to be eliminated. This revived Pokemon that was his partner that he did all of this for, saw that this wasn't the same man anymore, that he, I don't know if this Pokemon grew up with it or whatever, but the same trainer it knew. So it left him, which is like, holy fuck, this was the driving nail into this character, because he lost what he initially did all of this for. And that's when he stops, and this is where you come in, you put away the machines, because other people are trying to use the same machines to destroy the same world, and at the very end you defeat the Elite Four, you defeat the villains, and this 3,000-year-old man comes up, still searching the earth for this Pokemon that left him many years ago, and he decides to battle with you, because he's changed throughout the years, but he's still sad because he's never found this Pokemon. He's given up the destruction of the world, and battles you. You fight him after the credits. There's another battle after the fucking credits, and you as the player fight him, defeat him. He's not very difficult at all, because they want you to see the end of the story, and he says, oh, that was great. Great battle, thank you. And then out of nowhere, the little Pokemon comes out after many years of not being seen and leaving him, shows up with him, and he just immediately breaks down and tears up, and it's redemption. The whole episode is just titled Redemption. You see it in the game in just screenshots, stills. You see it in Pokemon Generations, and it's in full anime, motion, music, color, everything. And it just hits you so damn hard. And when I saw it 10 seconds in, I'm like, oh fuck, I know what story this is. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to tear up. A second later, I'm fucking already crying.
I can't say anything more about the story more beautifully than you did, because it was a great way to end the series with that very heartfelt story. Some that many people may not have even ever gotten to that point in the game to see and understand that, that's what happened. That's the story they gave. But like you said, that's a testament to Pokemon and how they've improved their game over the year, from this first game where it was just, okay, get to this place and fight these people, and now you have this whole elaborate story of why you're doing everything you are in the game.
These are the kind of stories that they've put together to appeal to people our age. Like, yeah, I'm fucking 28 years old and I'm crying at a fucking cartoon, but,
A Pokemon cartoon.
But it was aimed at the older generation. This is a story that's heavier, it's darker, And, I think kids will appreciate it as well, but they're not the ones crying and as they're seeing this behind the computer, they're just like, oh, I'm glad he came back. Like, it's a nice story. But it's just as you get older, you understand the mistakes that he went through, and you can relate to more of that. And it's just hits you so much harder. And yeah, it's just a little kid's game, or in this case, it's a story. But I don't know. It's just, watch Pokemon Generations, even if you haven't seen or played a Pokemon game. I think you could appreciate the little story that they put together. And me describing it, while I give you the heart of it, it doesn't do it justice when you're actually watching it in front of you. So Pokemon Generations, it's called Redemption. Final one in their playlist for Pokemon's official YouTube channel.
And with that very teary-eyed story, we can wrap up our news for the week.
None of this would be possible without our Patreon backers out there. So we've got 2 shout-outs this week.
The first one is going out to Christopher, whose Twitter handle is @TheIrishOnFire.
And the second one goes out to Bobby, whose Twitter handle is @CubanSlim.
Thank you guys so much for your support. For all of you listening, if you want to support us as well, you can head over to patreon.com/thereasonsimebroke.
Yeah, big thanks to Christopher and Bobby. Make sure to follow them. Again, that was @TheIrishOnFire and @CubanSlim. We are $12 away from goal number 3, which would give us a full website revamp. I've already talked to one of my buddies who works, his whole job is to make up websites for businesses, and his company makes all of these elaborate websites. So I've talked to him and getting some tips on how to migrate the older one to the newer one when we do end up building it. And I've already gotten some ideas. Right now what I'm doing is I'm putting the t-shirt designs together, because those I have to slowly get set up, put up the fee, and get them created. So that's where I'm going right now. But hopefully by the time we hit goal number 3, we'll have every single one of those shirts ready to go and can do a full website launch. But we can't get there without the $12 goal that we have at this point to hit goal number 3. And also on iTunes, if you want to help us out, if you're like, you know what, I can't contribute on Patreon every month, go ahead and write us a review on iTunes. Those reviews go a really long way in finding new brokettes and new listeners that can find the show. Even if you don't write us a review on iTunes, if you're telling friends about the podcast, that really helps us out. If you know any DC fanboys or fangirls out there, let them know about the show, because fuck yes, we are biased, and I'm not fucking ever denying that shit.
Until Marvel comes in and offers you money, and then you're selling out.
Oh, absolutely. Immediately selling out. But
DC who?
In the meantime, I'm like, where's Batman? DC? Okay, well, that's where I'm at.
But of course, guys, our podcast will always be free for you. The best thing you can do for us, like Dan said, just leave us a review on iTunes. Talk to us on Twitter @ReasonsI'mBroke or @PalpaKelli. We do this show for you all to share what we love and hear what you love as well. So hit us up there.
Huge thanks also to fandomfi.com for the help at the $5 tier. And if once again, the address is patreon.com/thereasonsimbroke, just $1 a month.
But with that, we can move into our comic book highlights of the week. The first one we have is Hulk number 1. This is written by Mariko Tamaki with art by Nico Leon, and the colors is Matt Milla.
This one is walking the line. Is that a colorist name? Matt Milla.
No.
It's close, though.
No, it's not.
It's pretty silly.
Colorist names are one word, sometimes just random letters put together.
Hi-fi is almost 2 words, though.
No, it's not.
It's 2 words connected by a hyphen.
Okay, but it's one word.
So for him, it would just have to be Milla. Milla.
Yeah, but I mean, even that isn't really a colorist name. Maybe if it was like Marmela.
Like a clearly not a real name.
It has to be clearly not real. Those are colorist names. I thought you would have learned this by now.
So what'd you think of Hulk number 1?
I thought it was fantastic.
Tell them a little bit about it.
So it opens with She-Hulk looking normal, but normal for people and not normal for She-Hulk.
Right.
And she's going back to work. So they kind of reveal the reason why she wasn't at work. Regardless, she's going back to work to be a lawyer, which is what she is anyway. And so you're following her on her journey to work and throughout the day and her inner monologue, and see that she has a lot of distress and anxiety about going back to this. And then she meets with a client, and you just kind of follow her emotional waves of the things she's going throughout the day, and how she feels after what they reveal to be a pretty big tragedy in her life.
Yeah, it's probably the darkest of the She-Hulk books that we've seen. The last one, which we really enjoyed and we read from beginning to end, was a lot more lighthearted. It was all about her taking on cases from superheroes and supervillains, and it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it. Hulk was a lot heavier, and it's really interesting because Marvel is taking a turn towards the dark on their storytelling, and we see that with the Hulk. And as we've said in the past, we don't mind dark, we don't mind light, whatever you want to give us as long as it's a good story, fine. And this falls under that. It's a good story. It's really good to see and how she struggles in not becoming the She-Hulk, what her routine is to keep her cool and keep her calm with not becoming that quote-unquote monster again. And other people as well are feeding into that by saying, oh, I'm glad you're not green. Is this what you normally look like? Is this how you're normally going to look? And she's just like, it's none of your fucking business if I'm green or not. Who gives a fucking shit? Just let me do my job. If you enjoyed the previous She-Hulk series, though, you do still get some of that of villains and heroes and other weird oddball characters taking cases for those kinds of people, but it's not as humorous as you would expect. Instead, they're each a reflection of what she's actually struggling through, and that's what this first case is.
Overall, great book. I really recommend it if you like great stories with great character development. I think we're going to see a lot of that in this book, and for me, it's very interesting to see, like we said, we read all of She-Hulk, to see, you understand this is the same character, but how differently she's handled because of this different part of her life.
Next comic book highlight this week is, and I'm going to make this up right now on the spot, it is the crown jewel of Superman Loves Batman.
It is.
It is the Superman Loves Batman
book. The
book.
definitive, if there was ever any doubt, that doubt is solved right now.
The Dark Knight Returns, right? We have Superman and saying, don't touch him, and immediately powering back up enough to catch Bruce. Like, oh, I'm not weak anymore. Like, it was all a game before that.
Yeah.
Just to try to get Bruce to feel good about beating up Superman. And instead, as soon as he hears his heart stopping, oh, this is serious now. No, my man! Don't touch him! No. What have I done? This one tops that Superman Loves Batman moment.
By a lot.
It tops the Superman one where he's raising kids together with him. This somehow does it, and we're about to explain why. But first, Superman Loves Batman theme song.
I can lift you up. I can show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be. You could be my luck. Even if the sky is falling down, I know that we'll be safe and sound. We're safe and sound.
I'm going to give Kelli the honor of highlighting the Superman Loves Batman moments of The Dark Knight 3, The Master Race number 7, written by Frank Miller and Brian Azzarello, art by Andy Kubert, and colors by Brad Anderson.
So the story opens. Superman is carrying Batman princess style.
Spoiler alert right now.
Yes.
Letting you know.
The whole
That's
thing,
your warning.
Spoilers. Carrying him princess style with his inner monologue talking about, I don't know, how he's his, man or something. It was all pretty Superman Loves Batman-y.
His body's cold.
Yeah.
He's very worried.
His body's cold. I'll just pretend it's the wind.
It's gotta be the wind. He has to live.
I'll get him there faster, but maybe I'm not strong enough.
It's a moment of weakness. Yeah. How come Superman... I'm gonna pause you right here. How come Superman's not strong enough with his love of Batman to fly faster than he's ever flown before to get him to where he needs to be?
But he was, which is why he got him to where he needed to be. But at the same time, his love for him makes him nervous and makes him doubt himself. Because Batman he holds him on such a high pedestal. Like, what if he's not enough to reach him? So anyway, flies him to where he needs to be, which is a Lazarus pit.
Fuck yes.
Pretty cool.
So fucking happy Lazarus pit.
But somehow Bruce is naked now.
Yes, we get to one other panel. Where Superman undressed Batman.
Yes. Still carrying him princess style.
Yes.
But he's naked now. Okay.
Well, as we said earlier, it's so to make sure the Lazarus pit goo gets on every crevice of his body.
Every crevice.
All his muscles. He has to make sure.
All of them.
He has to make sure. He doesn't want to leave anything to chance.
Yes,
the man's heart stopped, but he has the time to undress him.
To undress him, of course. Not just throw him in his basket. Okay, whatever. So he jumps into the Lazarus pit, and then Superman's sitting there all sad, was I fast enough? And then young man Bruce pops out.
Naked young man Bruce.
Naked young man Bruce. And Superman's like, ah! And then in one scene is seen like holding him on the ground, like, shh, I'm here.
And his head's like near his belly button.
Yeah, it's real awkward.
Like he is struggling to hold Naked Man Bruce, which maybe he is. Like that's his weakness. We know Batman's one of his other weaknesses.
I guess. And he's like, shh, I'm here.
Now he has a young Batman. How much longer is Superman gonna live now?
Forever. He's just gonna keep taking Naked Bruce to the Lazarus pit, and they'll just live forever.
If living forever, if forcing himself, willing himself to live forever for Batman means taking him to the Lazarus pit every 80, or how old is Batman at this point? 127 years?
Whatever.
Then so be it. Superman will cherish.
Guys, I will fall on this knife for you. I will take him to the Lazarus pit. Oh, we'll come help you. No. I got it. It's fine. I'll take him. Why are you taking off his clothes? The goo. The pit. Come on.
Or better yet, I'm 147, Clark. It's time for me to take another dip. Well, let me help you with your clothes. I'm fine. No. I need to help you. Let me just help you.
This is what friends do.
We don't know if it'll work every time unless I undress you.
Why don't we make a weekend of it? We'll stay someplace in the Himalayas.
It's good. It's a great Superman loves Batman moment.
Yeah.
He saved the Batman because otherwise he would freeze himself again like he did at the beginning of The Dark Knight 3.
Of course.
It's super character development for Superman. Like, okay, all of this fits in my characterization of Superman. We always say Superman would do this, actually, and like, try to hold Batman. And he does all of that in Dark Knight 3.
Yeah, and it's more, because I never would have thought Superman would undress him. So it's more than I thought possible.
Well, they're old now. Like, he's more daring, is what he is in his old age.
Because he knows he doesn't have much time left. Yeah. And he's probably like, if Bruce dies, at least I got to see him naked once. So, just undress him.
He got the ultimate gift. He got to see young men, but he loves them the same. Of
course. Young, old, loves them both. Because
so who really deserves Batman?
Catwoman. Definitely Catwoman.
Poor Superman. You're right, though. Batman does not love Superman.
No, absolutely not. Not in any universe ever.
Dark Knight 3, number 7, The Master Race number 7, is a $6 comic. Pick it up to own the ultimate Superman Loves Batman comic. You will know that you have the ultimate Superman Loves Batman comic because we told you. And we are the deciding factors of that.
We are.
You heard it here first. Superman Loves fucking Batman years ago.
Yeah.
Paul Kelli coined the idea.
I did.
We ran from it.
It's the truth.
We ran with it.
I think I got it from the episode when they come back from someplace and Superman runs up and hugs.
Justice League, not Unlimited. It was the first one.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
right.
Superman runs up and hugs Batman. I'm like, what, are they in love?
It's on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
It is. We put it up there because that is the first time that's what sparked your idea.
Mm-hmm. That's what made me see the truth.
So there it is, Brokettes. Not only the podcast, but the first Superman Loves Batman moment of 2017. And it was a good one, and it was the best one.
I don't think we'll top it this year. I don't see it happening.
I'm going to be optimistic. We still have Justice League coming out later this year. So we'll see it in live action format when Superman comes back to life for Batman, maybe. If they did it right.
If they did it right.
If Geoff Johns knows his shit.
He wakes up, where is he?
I've had Peter J. Tomasi and I've had Greg Pak also our Superman Loves Batman tweets, which is me, in my mind, confirming that they're saying, yeah, that's what we're going for, but I can't publicly say it, so I'll just support it by liking it. We need to direct those at fucking Geoff Johns and at Jim Lee, at Dan DiDio. Mainly Geoff Johns, because we want to see this shit in the movies. We saw some of it in Batman v Superman. I want it to be blatant.
You are never going to see this in the movies. Calm down.
Never say never.
Don't listen.
I never thought I'd see this shit, and we saw it in Dark Knight 3, and I'm as happy as can be.
That's because Miller is insane.
And Miller would not have thought of this. This is all Azzarello.
Azzarello is also insane.
Insanely good at picking out and writing Superman.
Yes. Can you tweet him our Superman Loves Batman? Tweet it to Azzarello so he can like it, and you'll know that it's true.
Yeah, I'll send them a link to the podcast and give him a minute mark. Hey, Azzarello, listen at this time.
Yes.
And if you listen this far, Azzarello, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We loved your comic.
You are our third listener.
So that'll do it, Brokettes. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at ReasonsI'mBroke and at Palpakelli.
At Palpakelli.
You can find the link to all of our social networking sites and accounts over at thereasonsimbroke.com.
So guys, if I don't die in my marathon, I'll see you next week. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
Thank you for tuning in.